Hello and welcome to another segment of Interviews That Matter. I'm your host Raj Mehta. Friends, we bring guests in this segment who influence our lives. This includes elected officials, policymakers, heads of other organizations, and other dignitaries. It is my sincere hope that shared knowledge by these people benefits our community. Albany is the capital of the state of New York. The most powerful person in Albany is, of course, Governor of New York State, which is Andrew Cuomo. And the second most powerful person is the Senate Majority Leader. Today, we are meeting the Senate Majority Leader, second most powerful person in Albany, Senator Dean Skelos. Welcome, Senator. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your time being here on the show. Senator, you started in 1982. You were first, only short one-term assemblyman, and then you became a senator, and since then you've been a senator forever. So can you just tell us, how did you get started in politics?
Well, I was always interested in government. In elementary school, I was running for class officer. My college, I was the student government president. And a lot of it I owe to my mother, who was very, very interested in government and politics and public service. And in fact, she worked with some of the top people when Tom Dewey, who was the former governor of New York State, ran for president against Harry Truman.
Oh.
So she always loved government, always loved politics, and encouraged me to do it. And not only have I been fortunate to be successful in running for office, but also my brother Peter is a Supreme Court judge in Nassau County. So public service is something she's encouraged us to enter into.
So it's in a family.
It's in the family.
And you owe everything to your mother.
You know what, I really do. She's a wonderful person,
true.
and unfortunately she's no longer with us, but five of us, wonderful person, grandchildren now, everything. So she was a wonderful woman. I know she still looks down at us.
Same as me. My parents are not here also, but I always feel that their blessings are always there from somewhere.
I agree with you.
And that's how we do what we do here.
Yes.
And so your mentor was really your mother.
Yes.
She's the one who really encouraged you to go into and that kind of.
In politics itself, I was very. Worked on Barry Goldwater when he ran for president.
Oh, okay.
I was head of Youth for Goldwater in Rockville Center. Mm-hmm. But my political hero is really Ronald Reagan, who I think was just a tremendous president, brought back pride in this country, and was respected worldwide. So that's my political hero.
So, I know that, in 1982 when you ran, or 1984 when you ran for Senate, you brought Ronald Reagan here.
Yes.
For campaign, for your support.
Well, he came into the Five Towns community. Right. Senator D'Amato actually brought him in.
Oh, okay.
He spoke at Temple Hillel, and it was obviously very helpful to me when the President of the United States comes into your community. And I ran for the Assembly in 1980. I served for 2 years, and then actually the first time I ran for the Senate, I lost. And then in 1984, I was successful. And obviously, President Reagan coming into the district helped me be successful.
That's great. That's great. So now you are the senator for 9th District.
9th District, yes.
And what is it comprises of?
Well, it really starts at the city line by the Cross Island Parkway. And then most of it is south of the southern state, out to Baldwin. I have Long Beach Island, the Five Towns, my home community of Rockville Center. And then I do go north into Elmont a little bit, into West Hempstead, North Valley Stream area. So it's a pretty compact area, but a very, very good area. Different people from different backgrounds. We have people that are very wealthy, people that are struggling a little bit. So it's a exciting opportunity for me to serve as their senator, but also as the majority leader now in the Senate.
Of course. How many people are in the district approximately?
It's a little over 300,000.
A little over 300,000.
And we'll probably, in this, we just did the redistricting with the new census. probably around 320, 330,000 people.
So first term, like you were just one term assemblyman, and then
One term.
immediately turned to Senate. Was there a reason behind it, or do you like more Senate than Assembly, or what?
The Assembly, there are 150 assemblymen and women.
Right.
When I went into the Senate, there were 60 senators,
Right.
and Republicans were in the majority.
Okay,
In the
so
Assembly, we were in the
obviously.
minority, so I can tell you it's a lot nicer to be in the majority. And
course.
I enjoyed it, and I've been very fortunate that my constituents have re-elected me over the years, and we've been able to accomplish a lot of good things.
Very good, very good. Now, you are, as you are the Senate Majority Leader, and you're also chairman of many different committees, and you have been instrumental in passing a lot of different legislations across, all throughout these years. Can you tell us what was the legislation which really impacted a lot of people, like communities?
Yes, Megan's Law.
Megan's Law.
Megan's Law established a sex offender registry in the state for those who would commit sexual crimes against young people, pedophiles, those who perhaps would commit an offense against women, and that sets up a registry where people can see if in fact there's a pedophile or somebody dangerous living within their community. And the reason why I say that's the most significant piece of legislation is I know it's saving lives. I can't point to the person whose life it saved,
Right.
but I think with the information available to parents to make sure they can protect their children, this is probably the most significant piece of legislation that I passed.
Oh, good, good, good. And is there anything most challenging legislation that you think of, like you have to really fight for it?
Well, I worked to eliminate the statute of limitations on rape, and also we've expanded what they call the DNA database, so that when a person is convicted of a crime, they have to give their DNA. And many times that tracks down prior crimes, but also will exonerate people that are innocent. And that took several years to expand the DNA database. And this year we substantially expanded it with working with Governor Cuomo to include just about every crime.
We have on our show before, we had Senator Hannan came in here, and obviously his focus is healthcare mostly. What is your focus in Senate? Is there anything that you really like, or you focus on?
When you become the majority leader, your responsibility is across the board.
Right.
For years, I was chairman of the Aging Committee.
Okay.
So we dealt with legislation that would positively impact senior citizens. For example, we have what they call the EPIC program in New York State, Elderly Pharmaceutical Insurance Coverage Program, that helps seniors, middle-income seniors, with their drug prescription costs. Now, as the majority leader, my focus is more on economic development, job creation, private sector job creation. We are in a difficult economic climate, as you know, and we want to do what we can to empower the private sector, such as yourself, to be able to grow by cutting taxes, by affording different business tax credits for hiring people, and that's the way you grow jobs. Government should stay out of the way of the private sector and let them do what they do best, and that's to create jobs.
I agree, and that leads me to another question. That obviously, New York State, we want to keep companies here, which is your focus and our focus, and we want to stay here, right? Obviously, is there anything that government is right now, Senate is working on, which keep people here? Because, and would you like, we have like Long Island First, and we have got so many things right like that. So is there something like New York First?
Yeah, we are working with the governor, bipartisan basis. Number one, we've had two early budgets, last year and this year. For years, the budgets would be months late. So the governor and I have made a commitment to each other that we were going to get on-time budgets to signal to the public, but also the business community, that we're going to function as a governmental entity on time. We cut our spending 2 years in a row. We did not raise taxes. We eliminated a $10 billion deficit without raising taxes and fees. And I think that has sent a message to the business community that New York State is open for business. Now we're looking at regulations, over-regulation by government. What regulations can we eliminate because they really serve no purpose other than hurting the ability for private people to create jobs. And we're looking to cut now different business taxes, especially as the economy improves, cut business taxes, cut corporate taxes, manufacturing taxes. There's just too many taxes that exist in New York State, and we're going to cut them so that we can be competitive with other states. We have so many natural resources here in New York State. We have New York City, where people love to go into for culture, for entertainment. We have the proximity of airports, which is very important for businesses, but we tax too much and the government spends too much. So we have to bring that under control, and that's our main objective right now.
So, obviously, you mentioned that 2 years in a row, the Governor Cuomo was able to pass the budget in time. And obviously, you are the second most powerful person in Albany as a Senate Majority Leader. And without your support, it's not easy for Governor to accomplish what he did. So obviously, credit goes to you.
I agree. But when he was the first elected governor, and before he was even sworn in, or I was sworn in as majority leader, we committed to each other that we were going to try to change the tone in Albany and the way it functions. We'll have disagreements, but we work our way through those disagreements to get a result. And that's what people want. To be perfectly blunt, we're accomplishing in New York State what I wish the federal government was doing. The governor is leading. President Obama should be leading rather than campaigning all the time. And the two houses of the legislature, they should be talking to each other and figuring out how to compromise and come to a positive result rather than yelling and accusing each other. And we've moved beyond that in New York State, which I think was great. And I owe the governor a lot of credit, Speaker Silver, and obviously my Republican conference, that we've all moved in that direction.
Well, definitely, I must congratulate you.
Thank
because,
you.
I think, it's people, right, basically, because you were willing to cooperate, and that's the reason why Governor was able to accomplish. So everything is like each other.
Yeah, I mean,
not like one.
We have the Senate, the Assembly, and the executive branch, and unless the three of you come together, nothing's going to happen. And for too long, good things weren't happening. And now a lot of good things are happening in New York State.
Definitely, New York, I'm sure people like it, basically. They really feel it good about it. You have, I wanted to find out that, we are, most of our viewers are South Asian community, people from South Asia, right? So, what do you think of South Asian, what is the contribution of South Asian community in New York?
Hard work, family, want to take care of their family, respecting the country, respecting the institutions of government as long as it's working the right way. But most of all, it's hard work and providing for their families and giving back to the community. And that's why we are looking on the state level and our Republican conference to reduce taxes, but mainly on small businesses, because that's where the job creators are, is small businesses. We're looking to make it more affordable to get an education by different tax deductions, education tax deductions, education credits. We're going to look at reducing the cost of student loans. People want to get an education for their kids. Every generation wants that next generation to do better. My grandparents came from Greece. My one grandfather was a waiter. My other grandfather had a bakery. And they wanted that next generation, my aunts, my uncles, my father, they went into different businesses. My father's 91. He still works every day. He's a stockbroker. But he wanted his kids to go to college, get an education, and do better than his generation. And that's what I want for my son and now my grandson, to make sure that they can do better. But it comes with education. And that's what the community is looking for. We want to get a good education, we want to educate our kids, we want it to be affordable, and then everybody will do a little better.
Now, as a Senate leader, is there any plans to help New York's minority community?
Yes, and again, that's education. And, and as I just mentioned, empowering the private sector especially small businesses, to be able to be successful. You know, if you have 2 people that work for you and you bring on 1 more person, that's a huge increase for you. If you have 20 employees and you bring up 5 more, that's a huge increase. So it's not just about the IBMs and the General Motors and those big companies. The job creators in New York State are small businesses, many of them mom and pop stores. So we want to make sure that it's affordable for them to do it. Then of course is then making educational affordable. We have a brain drain here in New York State. A lot of our young people are getting education, good education, but then they're leaving for other parts of the country. So we have to make it affordable for the young people, such as my son, to be able to stay here and grow their families, and then they become the job creators.
We'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Please stay with us. Welcome back. We are having a conversation with the Senate Majority Leader, Dean Skelos, and he's again, I want to remind you, he's the second most powerful person in Albany, and we are, thank you, Senator, for coming here. I wanted to ask you that, you know, many of our, community is in healthcare, right? And the biggest concern whenever I meet people, whenever we are in a party or to get together, and most of them are in healthcare. Many of them are in healthcare, rather. And the always conversation leads to, you know, a medical malpractice insurance premium. And like California has passed a law for limiting the, you know, claims, malpractice claims. Is there anything that you're considering, or would you do that?
Well, last year we set up what they call a neurologically impaired fund for kids that unfortunately at birth are neurologically impaired, and that resulted in many lawsuits that were costing doctors, hospitals a lot of money. But so now by setting up this fund, the money will be there so that these kids are taken care of the rest of their lives, rather than it all being litigated and costing a lot of money. So that was a first step. You know, in terms of what other states have done, you know, we want to do what we can to bring down malpractice costs, but right now, Speaker Silver of the Assembly, they're not interested in doing any type of tort reform.
Is there anything you can take a lead and then let them say no?
Well, they've said no a few times.
Oh, they already said no. Okay. What, you know, like what any constituent, what can they ask your office for help? What kind of help that you offer?
Well, you know, constituents come in many times because, number one, they're frustrated with some branch of government. It could be in a local community where they're interested in a stop sign. It could be because their road's unpaved. Could be that on the state level they haven't gotten their tax refund back. There's it really involves when they're frustrated about something at a different level of government, and they come to us for help. It also can be looking to us, are there any job opportunities? You know, we have a job fair every year.
Of course.
And you were kind enough, one of the individuals that was there, you interviewed him, you talked to him, and you've hired him. So I think that's some of the things that we do. We have health fairs, we have job fairs, we meet with constituents, and certainly I'm always available to meet with my constituents about different local problems that they have. But also many times we get great suggestions from constituents about legislation, ideas that they may have that they believe is good, and they'll come in. Many times they express their agreement with something that I've done, but also express their disagreement with maybe a vote or a bill we've put out. But that's what government should be. The elected officials should be open, they should be accessible, government should be transparent, and people should feel free to come and talk to us. We have a representative form of government, and they should feel free to come and talk to me and make their opinions known, and they do.
That's great, that's great. You know, open door policy is always good. And you know, anybody can come without, you know, hesitation. That's
Absolutely.
a great thing. Okay, let's move to presidential election this year. Obviously, it's coming very fast. And Mitt Romney is the choice of Republican Party, and President Barack Obama is going to run again. Romney has a long way to go, obviously. He has to unite all Republicans together, and he still has a message that he needs to, kind of pass. What is your advice to each one of them? What they should be doing in order to be successful in this election?
Well, to the president, he should govern and not campaign every day. Everything shouldn't be about campaigning. But obviously, I support Mitt Romney. I think his private sector knowledge in terms of business, turning around businesses, is what we need in this country. Somebody that's pro private sector job creation, that has the experience, that has done it. A number of years ago, there was a crisis concerning the Olympics. He came in, turned that around. So he's been very successful in his own personal life, but he shouldn't be penalized for that. This country is about the opportunity to be successful,
right?
To make money. And as long as you do it legally and you pay your taxes,
then it should be fine.
Then that's what our country is about. You should be, that's somebody you should look up to rather than look down to. And I think President Obama is trying to divide the country in terms of if you're successful, there's something wrong with you. I think that's very, very wrong. I think the American people are not going to appreciate that in the end, because our country has always been about work hard and you can be successful. You can accomplish anything in this country if you want to work hard. And I think the Mitt Romney has to stay focused on jobs, taxes, and government spending. That's all people want to hear about right now. How are we going to get government spending under control so that next generation or my grandson are not burdened with all the debt and the cost of debt, and how do we make sure that everybody gets back to work? And the most important thing, a lot of young people that have all the college student loans, we want to help them with that, but the best help we could give them is have a job out there for them.
Absolutely.
That's look for. Then they can pay their student loans.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not about government just taking over student loans. It's about making sure that generation has the opportunity to work.
What are your future plans?
My future plans are to be the majority leader, to help the state become more affordable. Right now in some of the surveys, in terms of business climate, we're 49th out of 50, which is not good.
Oh boy.
I want to really improve the business climate, continue to work with Governor Cuomo to see that happen.
And your final message to our viewers?
Work hard, be involved politically, and we're going in New York State, we're moving in the right direction, and we're going to continue to move in that right direction to make it affordable. We're going to stabilize property taxes. We're going to bring on all the other taxes. In December, we reduced the first time for people making up to $300,000 a year. We reduced the tax rate for the first time in over 50 years.
Wow.
It's not happened in New York State.
Wow.
So we're going to continue in that direction.
Okay, well, appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for coming on our show, and I hope to see you again sometime in the future. And thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can email me at rajmitv@gmail.com. That's again rajmitv@gmail.com. Until next time, see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.